Now, you hire a lawyer and you go to court, and the defendant is there the first time. On what date?
First hearing, I believe, was November the 9th, or right around there.
And during that time, there was a protective order in place.
Yes, ma'am. I've got here where, on the police report that night, she told them that I left 25 minutes ago. I guess she waited to call them. And she also says right here, dated, that I did not work that night. She said that to the police officer at the time of the report. This is my time card saying I did work that night.
She says you were there.
Well, she even sat here earlier a second ago and said that I did not work that night.
Sir, I want you to understand me. It's my job, for which I've been carefully trained for 50 years. Mm-hmm. You see, you're not paying attention. You're playing with your papers.
Sorry, trying to find what I was looking for.
It's my job to be able to figure out what a common sense, truthful story is being painted for me, and to try to understand the people that I'm dealing with. And I want you to know that I'm getting that feeling. Now, you hired a lawyer, and your intention was to sue Buffalo Wild Wings and get a whole bunch of money, and her. She has no money. And this defendant, the plaintiff in the protective order, shows up without a lawyer. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Excuse me, I'm waiting until he finishes playing around with his papers. I would assume that you requested an adjournment in order to get a lawyer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you can proceed with a protective order without a lawyer. As a matter of fact, most people do. The reason you didn't want to proceed without a lawyer is you had more to lose. And what you had to lose was, I assume in your jurisdiction, if there's a protective order, you lose your guns.
Yes, ma'am.
There we go. You don't have to be a genius to figure that out. And since you're friends with the entire police department in Springfield, according to your email, and as a matter of fact, according to your Facebook post, you were at the firing range that day with the same officer who responded to this call, if I read it correctly.
I don't know about who responded.
Let's see what it says.
What I mean is, responded to what call?
Yeah, ready for this? Mark just called me and let me know they're accepting my resignation. I'm assuming Lauren's dumbass called the cops, who, funny enough, I was with at the range all day yesterday. That's what you wrote.
That's correct.
I knew I didn't make it up. So that's why you needed a lawyer. You needed a lawyer for two reasons. Most of the people, and I've tried probably 10,000 petitions seeking an order of protection in my career, mostly in the family court. Most people come in and they don't have lawyers. If you have a lawyer, there's usually a reason, especially somebody who doesn't make a whole lot of money, and somebody who's siding as a server doesn't make a whole lot of money. $1,000 is a lot of money. It's a lot of tips. So you wanted to protect your guns and potentially a lawsuit against Buffalo Wild Wings. So you hired a lawyer. You had a conversation with that lawyer that day?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And you can't tell me what that is because that's hearsay. But based on that conversation, you hired your own lawyer.
Yes.
And what was the next date?
Yes. The next date was November 30th. It was continued.
Okay. And would you mind telling me what happened on November 30th?
I was told not to even show up to that court date, so I'm not real sure.
You were told by whom?
My attorney.
The judge told you to be there. Your lawyer told you not to be there?
Correct.
Why were you busy?
I'm not sure, ma'am. He just called me and said, you don't need to appear at this one, and I'll have further instructions for you. I would have showed up if he told me to.
Well, the case was adjourned so that she could be there, unless there was something put off the calendar for just the attorneys to show up. Did you show up on November 30th?
Yes, Your Honor.
With your lawyer?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what happened on that date, Miss White?